Welcome to the Effortlessly Abundant Life podcast. I'm Natalia, a certified hypnotherapist and a mindset shifter. Not too long ago, I was a broke, burned out, multi-passionate, single woman to now making six figures effortlessly, marrying the love of my life and attracting what I want by using my unique bridge method. I'm here to help you achieve the results you want in any area of your life by owning your true unique self with less doing, less stress, and definitely less effort. Now let's jump to today's episode in 3, 2, 1. Hello, my gorgeous souls, and welcome to another episode of Effortlessly Abundant Life. I'm so excited to sit down and actually reflect back and really bring you the energy that I absorbed at Abraham Hicks Workshop that I had yesterday. I don't even know where to start, but where to begin. But let's start with who is Abraham Hicks. So Abraham is what Esther Hicks is channeling. It's obviously a higher being energy that is channeled through Esther Hicks for God knows how long, for decades already. And Abraham really is all about helping us as humanity to really enforce their law of attraction, understanding that everything is energy. And what is happening in those workshops, basically, Abraham is picking up people from the crowd. You can raise your hand, but it doesn't really matter because Abraham picks through the energy, through the light that is above you. And if there's something that calls up to him, he calls you. And you go on a hot seat and you ask your question. And then, of course, Esther is channeling Abraham and answering this question. The beautiful thing that happened, I came to this workshop really thinking, what are the questions that I really have? A lot of what I teach and my philosophy and everything that I do with my clients is deeply ingrained in Abraham Hicks' teachings. It's just a universal law, right? One of the laws that she talks about all the time, and Abraham is always kind of reminding us, is the law of attraction. We know there are so many different laws, but law of attraction is really about the law of energetics, the law of the energy, the law of oneness. Knowing that you either in the light, or you're with your inner being, with your higher being, or you're not. And how you get close to that inner being to get everything that you want. If it's the money, if it's the relationship, it's the fulfillment. It all comes down to experience more pleasure, experience more well-being, experience peace and joy and excitement and pleasure again. That it's all what it's all about. And our human brain can really make these scenarios and complexities of situations we go through life, and we can gain so much momentum of what we don't want in our life. And she really simplifies it in such a beautiful way where it's truly binary, right? It's either you with the light, are you with your inner being, are you pointing to that direction, or are you pointing to where you don't want to be? And through all the different stories, through all the different questions, I got my answers. Although I wasn't picked, I got everything I needed. And I feel seen and heard by Abraham. And it was such a beautiful, beautiful experience. It was actually in Westchester in New York City. So it was on Saturday. So we woke up, my family and I, my husband, my son, and the doors open at 10:30, but with the toddler, it's never happening. So we only got out of the house by 10:30. It was almost like an hour ride. We got there. It was in a beautiful hotel there. And it was absolutely packed. It was so many people there. I was like, wow, everybody's coming to Abraham Hicks. And as I told you, the doors open at 10:30. So I walk in there. And I told my husband to wait for me in the front just so I know maybe we have some time to get breakfast together or some food before the workshop start. So I walk in, I register, get my bracelet, and I registered, and then it's pretty much first come, first serve, right? So there's no like designated seats. It's just whoever comes in, that's your seat. So I walk in, and the whole room is like a medium-sized room. It's not a whole, but it's a pretty significant amount of spots, and most of it was already taken. Of course, the front seats, the middle, and slowly already the sides got it to be very packed. As I'm walking and looking for a spot, because I really wanted to be sitting in the kind of like mid-row, somewhere close to the stage so I can really see it and enjoy it. And this is how crazy, it's not crazy, but this is how beautiful how it works and how easy it can be. So I literally put the intention for myself saying, I will find a seat next to the stage. It will happen. And I just let it go. And as I'm letting go, I'm getting a phone call from my friend, from my best friend. And she calls again. And she texted me, SOS, emergency. And I didn't know what happened. And I'm calling her back as I'm looking for a spot. And she tells me something terrible that happened to her. And as I'm walking her through it and support her as much as I can, I'm so invested in this call, I have this gorgeous soul raise her hand. And she sits right in the middle, next to the stage. She raises her hand and she points to the seat right next to her. I cannot kid you not. And of course, I finished the call with her and I looked at her and I said, thank you so much. I appreciated you, that you saw me and you waved your hand and you invited me to sit next to you. And her name is Tisha. And she is such a gorgeous soul. And we start talking about what brought her, where she's from. She's not a New York native. She came specially for this workshop. And I was asking her how she got into Abraham Hicks, because it's very, even the spiritual people, some people are not into it, right? It's something that it's a language of its own. And some people don't really resonate with it right away, which is fine. So she told me about how she just saw it on YouTube. And she just got intrigued. And it was back in the days, like it was the original videos of Abraham Hicks. And then, the algorithm does its trick. And then you get all these videos on YouTube. And slowly but surely, she got into that. And that was her first workshop, such as myself. And we're talking about everything. And she kind of talked about and shared with me that she's a mom of 8 children. She had multiple businesses with her husband, and in 2020 she lost her husband tragically, and it was a very tough moment for her because everything just collapsed underneath her. The businesses, the houses that they also had some investment homes, and everything collapsed. And because he was the provider, he was the one who was taking care of the security and the safety of the home and the family. And now she was dealing with this. And she just felt so in chaos. And she didn't know how to cope with that. And one of the things she said that really helped her is how Esther Hicks kind of shared her experience with what happened with Jerry, her husband that also passed away, and how he was an integral part of her life. They are doing those workshops together. They're writing those books together. They're doing everything together. And here he's gone. And it left such a big hole in her. And the dealing with death is something that Abraham Hicks helped her through. And we were talking about all these things. And this is the thing that I love about life workshops, that I truly feel like I need to do, because there's no other feeling better than meeting people, like-minded people that speak your language, that in the works of what do you do, in the journey of what do you do. Because this work that we do can feel so isolating, so alone, because how many people around you that speak this kind of language, that speaks the positive language, that don't want a pity party. They want to actually, share and uplift and be grateful and, expend the light versus just dim the light. There's not a lot of people like that. So meeting those people in the same room, it was such a deep experience that I needed, that I didn't have for a while. I was going to all these like Tony Robbins events, and it was beautiful and it was great. But the energy there was just so different. It was so calm. It was so like people were just so nice. People were just calm and nice, and you would just feel like everybody knows each other in a weird way. I don't know how to explain it. And the workshop started, by the way. Between the conversation, between me supporting my friend and everything, my son already fell asleep, so my husband already took him, and they just went on lunch together, and they went to hike. It was beautiful hike spot right behind the hotel, so that was great. So they did their thing, and the workshop started, and it was so incredible, and time literally flew by. We had like 3 breaks, so every segment of an hour. And so when she feel the completion of this episode, she would give us some time to go to the bathroom, get some water, stretch, whatever we needed. So it felt like it went by so fast, but yet time kind of like collapsed, and it felt so slow and so present. And I really allowed myself not to write notes, not to not to be on my phone, and really allow myself to just be and be fully invested in my energy, in my presence, in the room, in the conversation. And as I said, I had 3 major questions that I had for her. And it's so interesting how all our questions are always being answers. Even if you don't think they are being answered, right? It's not like she picked me or Abraham picked me, but I got my answers. I got exactly what I needed from this workshop. And a lot of actually confirmation of what I actually do is the right thing, is the right way. And I'm going to share with you, what are the questions that I had. One of the questions that I had, that I talk a lot about frequently, is the manifestation versus manipulation. And manifestation versus manipulation, what I mean by that. When we talk about manifestation, we're always manifesting. It's just a law, right? We always keep asking, and we always keep getting. And that's just part of our being, right? It's not something we are doing. Hopefully we're doing it intentionally, right? We are choosing what we want to manifest. But a lot of time we're doing unintentionally, and we get a lot of times things that we might not want. But here is where it gets tricky. Where are we playing God, and where we are not allowing God to actually give us? That is the kind of like the questions that I had. Where are we overstepping our, let's say, role or part of the equation of receiving and asking, and where we are actually already manipulating, and we're trying to play God? And something she said very interestingly, a lot of people, because they don't believe, and this is what I got, this is the message that I got. She didn't say it in those words, but this is what I received from the energy of being there. A lot of people do, let's say, rituals. If it's meditations, if it's guided meditations, if it's some kind of rituals, feathers, burning, saging, whatever you use to manifest, let's put it that way, okay? In order to do this physical aspect, to prove yourself and give yourself the permission to believe, because it's almost like you need something external to validate that, hey, now it's possible for me to receive it. But all it comes down to manifesting whatever it is that you want, your desire, is actually believe that it's possible. More than that, above belief is the knowing, and above knowing is the trusting. So it's almost like you use an external thing to give yourself that, oh, I did this, so it must be work, right? I did this, it worked for other people. So your belief system is like, oh, if somebody did it and it worked for them, or they say it works, it must work for me, because it's not about me, it's just the ritual. But it's actually the other way around. It's you who's manifesting. You are the magic. You are the power. You are the energy. You are the receptive of whatever it is that you're attracting. It's not the ritual. So as long as you understand and believe that it's not the external thing, it's not the crystals, it's not the saging, it's not the feathers, it's not the burning, it's not the rituals, it's not the chants, I don't know, whatever you use, or the spells, yeah, they all have a certain frequency. But the true frequency that will attract your reality is you. So you can literally bypass all these rituals and things you think you need to do, all these what we call manipulations, and just connect to that God, higher version of yourself, not higher version, like your inner God, pure light in you, to connect to that. And when you connected to that, you connected to infinite intelligence. You connect to infinite possibilities, because everything is possible, because God is everything. God is everywhere. God is creating everything. And you're part of that. So you have that in you. And by following his impulses that talk to you through your authority, that I talk about all the time through human design, you are in light. You are in God. You are expanding God. You don't rely on anything external other than yourself to create the magic, to create the life that you want. I hope it makes sense. I'm just trying to really simplify it. And I'm not here to shame you if you're doing rituals, because I do rituals too. I do full moon rituals. I do, sometimes I do new moon rituals or whatever. But in the end of the day, when you understand you're manifesting all the time, and all you need is to declare your desire and know and trust that it's going to come, that's all you need. You don't need anything else. And a lot of coaches and a lot of people will tell you otherwise. But. They're going to tell you, oh, but you have this curse, or you have this thing, and you have this thing. No, you are not that thing. Nothing is more powerful than your light that it has within you. But the question is where you put your focus. Are you putting your focus in your shadow, in your limitation? Or are you putting your focus in your expansion, in your light, in the God in you? That is you. That is the only question. So choosing your focus is everything. And she was keep repeating this multiple times. Are you pointing with your language, with your energy, with your attitude towards what do you want? Are your energy, your body vibrating in closer to where you want, or is it not? Are you complaining? Are you trying to justify how hard it is, how unfair it is? Because justifying it doesn't justify to nobody. You're not getting more support by justifying it. All you're doing, you are amplifying the energy of what you don't want, and you're getting more of whatever you don't want. It's simple as that. And sometimes we overcomplicate it, and we making it so much more than what it is. It's simple. It's either you supporting the positive, or you're supporting the what you don't want. I don't want to say the negative, because there's no such thing negative. And this is one of the things she's also mentioned. What a beautiful thing. So one guy talked about how he'd been to another seminar of hers in a different, I think it was in Chicago, I believe. And he said he decided to just take this road and do a road trip coming to New York from Chicago. And he said it was amazing. He went through all these beautiful places. He saw so many different things. And then he said, I would not do it again. And that was where everybody started laughing. But I enjoyed the road. I enjoyed the journey. Although not everything was butterfly and sunshines, but it was worth going. And that's exactly what she said. She said, are you enjoying your journey? There is a reason why your manifestation is not here yet. It's because you're not worthy of it. The worthiness is not part of it. You're all worthy of everything that you want. It's just there needs to be adjustments to make you the receptive mode, or the receptive a part of whatever it is that you're manifesting. You're not yet there. There's some fine-tuning that needs to happen, and through different experiences you're gonna get there. So the question if it's gonna happen or not is not even something to think about. It's just not here yet. But can you enjoy the ride? Can you enjoy the journey? Can you enjoy and smell the roses, and enjoy and be grateful and thankful, and actually have fun on your way getting there? Like that guy that did a whole road trip coming from Chicago to New York. He could be in that mode of like, when are we getting there? And, bitching and moaning like, hey, I was supposed to be there already, and this happened and this happened. Or he said, wow, I experienced and I met people that I would never meet. He was talking about how intuition told him to stop in a different, get off in a certain stop in the train, and you get off in that train and you would just explore this town. And he said, I would never, ever would able to explore this town if I would not go through this, or meet these people, or have these conversations. But I got here. But the getting here wasn't the satisfaction. The satisfaction was, oh my God. But I learned so much. I expended so much. I experienced so much along the way. And that is the gift, guys. Another thing that I had in mind that I wanted more clarity about, that deep down I knew, but I got my confirmation. How we make choices. Let's say you're right now in a relationship that you don't know if it's a yes or no. Or you're in a job that you don't know if it's a yes or no. In your crossroad where you're thinking right or left. What she said so interestingly, and again, she didn't say it in those words, but I got the message. It's so interesting. She can talk about a completely different subject with a completely different person about a completely different thing, and I would get exactly what I needed. So I got the message that you make the choice of what's the next most logical step would be. And if the gap between where you are and where you want to be is so big, it will be amplifying more of what is not working. And working with our nervous system. If I'm going to just throw you outside of the, let's say, you're just going to do bungee jump, okay? And you're not ready. You didn't even jump like a little bit, right? You didn't even do the small thing first. I'm just gonna throw it outside, let's say, of a plane. It would be so traumatizing for you, and you're not gonna even enjoy it, and you're gonna avoid it, and you're gonna try to look for safety, and you're just gonna be like, oh my God, it was terrifying, it was horrible. You didn't even enjoy it. So again, coming back to the becoming, you will become the version that will experience the thing that you want. The choice will not even be a choice, because it's going to be the next logical thing to do, because it's almost like you're already that person. So it makes sense. It's not going to feel like this big decision or this big gap. For most people, some people can just go on a jump out of the plane and they're not worried about it. But that's the most logical step for them. That makes sense for them, because that's who they are, right? But if you're not, give yourself the grace and be gentle with yourself. Understand there is a journey for you to go through. That is actually the whole point of life, of becoming that version that will live this. And there will not be even a decision to make, because it's going to make so much sense to do. It's not going to feel like you're risking or you're doing something not logical. Does that make sense? So again, it's all about directing yourself to the better feeling in this particular moment. Shifting your thoughts and your beliefs slowly and gently on a daily basis from what we call the dark, and bring them back to light, bringing them back to alignment, bringing them back to the vortex, bringing them back to source, bringing them back to the essence of what you want. Because everything is that you want is a feeling, right? It's not just a thing. It's a feeling of pleasure. It's the feeling of peace and gratitude and abundance. It's a feeling. But if you don't cultivate that feeling right now and see it right now in your life, you will not be able to see it when you get it. And that's why so many people feel emptier whenever they manifest the amount of money or the dream job. They just feel more of how they're not worthy of it, because they didn't do the journey of becoming that. So there is so much value of the slower, that it feels slow, but it's not slow. It's necessary, because when you are going to get the thing, it's going to feel like the next logical thing. You'll be able to hold it. You'll be able to enjoy it. It's not going to feel like it's like feels foreign to you. It's almost if, let's say, I remember when I just moved to New York, right? And I didn't have money at all. And I've never been around. Like, I've been around rich people, but I never seen that kind of richness when I went to New York. Let's say I don't remember the exact hotel, the name, but it's just like the beauty in Fifth Avenue, right next to Central Park. There was this beautiful hotel, and everything was marble, and it was just this beautiful paintings, and you just could feel the heavy richness, beauty there, right? And I was just sitting there at the restaurant, and everything, just the appetizers, were like the whole entire lunch I would eat with my entire family, right? And I felt so out of place. I didn't feel I belong. And when you don't feel you belong, when you don't feel it's something that is normal for you, you feel more of what? You feel more of how it's emphasizing what you're not. So again, the only choosing you need to do is choosing how you want to feel. That's all you got to do. And everything, because you're working on your frequency, will align yourself back to how you want to feel and what you are actually going to attract from this good feeling. That's it. And it's not going to be huge things. It's not going to be these crazy things that don't look crazy, but they compile to really cool things, really cool miracles, really cool things that you didn't even thought were possible. And that is the joy of life. That is the co-creating at its finest. When you allow yourself to be surprised, pleasantly surprised from the universe and what it has to offer. Another thing that, going back to Tisha, it was already 4:30 and it was pretty much going towards the end of the workshop, and Tisha raised her hand, the woman next to me that gave me the seat next to her, and she raised her hand and she got picked. And I was so happy for her. We locked our eyes at each other when she walked on the stage. And I knew exactly what she's going to ask. And she walked on the stage and she sat down in front of Abraham and she started talking about her life, and she started talking about how she lost her husband. And it was so beautiful to hear her thoughts and what she channeled for her about death and how we as humans perceive death. And I don't know about you, by the way, I recently lost 2 clients unexpectedly, and also experienced a lot of people that are getting pregnant. So there's a lot of shifts that are happening, a lot of changes that is happening right now. And death is one of those things that we fear most, right? We fear death, but we always are dying. There's always a version of ourselves that is dying in order to transcend, to become our truest inner version. So there's almost more layers we're peeling, right? In order to bring our true essence out. But when it comes to people we love around us, how we cope with that lack. So she was talking about how she felt this deep void, and she still feels this deep void after 4 years. And what she said so beautifully, she said, you didn't lose him. And a lot of people, maybe therapists or pastors or just people in general just tell her, let it go. But you don't want to let go. When you love somebody, you don't want to let him go. Because letting him go means that your love to them or for them is not significant, right? So you don't want to let go. What you do let go of is the perception of what you think they were. That is the hard part, because what is the gap here, and where's the feeling of deep grief comes in, is when we miss somebody so much in what we remember them to be, right? In the physical essence of what they are. And no matter whatever you're going to do, you're never going to bring that essence. You're not going to bring that version of themselves anymore. And that is not fair to you or them. And that is why the grief is so deep. But when we understand that we never die. We never die. Before coming to this planet, before we're coming to this life, you were pure energy. That's what we are. That's who we really are. We're pure energy that chose to make this life, to be in this life, to experience this life, which is truly a gift. And we're all gonna die. Like, this is not a secret. Everything around you, every person you know, we all have our transition time that we're gonna move on. But we never die. Energy can never die. It's just what? It's just transmitting and transforming to a different form. So letting go of that form that you have for that person and actually start a relationship with this new form, this pure energy, Not let them, the essence, the love to them, because what you love them is not the physical aspect, right? Is the emotional, is the love, that is the energy that you have, the connection you have between you guys. That is never going to go away. So when you focus on that, and you focus on cultivating this relationship, this new relationship, talking to them, asking for signs, being in them, feeling them, they will come and they will show. And she was talking about how Jerry, when he passed away and when he transitioned, he would kind of like the sign that Esther and Jerry had is whenever she would go into an apartment or house or hotel room, whatever that is, he would make the lights blink. And she came to this new, she did a workshop and she went to this hotel and she came to the room and there's no light blinking. And she's like, hey, Jerry, did you forget what's going on? And she was walking outside and the automatic doors that were supposed to open, they opened. And then she suddenly noticed they're closing. And they open and they close and open and close right in front of her. And then she started laughing. She said, oh, Jerry, you're so clever. This is so cool. This is much better than blinking lights, right? So it's that type of interaction. That is what you can actually gain. That pure energy that is always in you, with you, around you. That actually has more power, right? And help you more, be with you more, support you more. And just start this relationship. And not start, it's almost like continue this relationship in a different way. So hopefully those words were helpful for you if you needed this message, especially when it comes to losing somebody close. And I'm going to leave you with a message. I bought this beautiful cards, this card deck. They're called the Law of Attraction cards. And of course, I have her Law of Attraction book. And these kind of messages in those cards. I'm going to pull up a card for you guys to kind of summarize what you need to hear right now. All of you. So let's see what Abraham has to say for us. Oh. This card wants to come out. So actually there's 3 cards that wanted to come out, which I can't blame because there's so much to say, right? So the card number 1 says, I use the law of creation deliberately. The law of creation has 2 important parts. The desire for the creation and the allowing of the creation. Whether you're thinking of what you desire or the lack of what you desire, the law of creation goes to work upon whatever you're thinking about. So remember what we spoke about, what direction are you pointing? The second card says, I can reach for a better feeling thought, which is such a good continuation from the previous card. So from your non-physical vantage point, you understood the eternal evolving nature of your being and the promise that this leading edge, contrasting environment held. You understood the power law of attraction and the fairness of accuracy with which is response to the free will of all creators. By reaching for the best feeling thought you can find, you will shiver with exhilaration as you reconnect with your purpose, with your zest of life, and with you. And the last card is, I love that. It's like perfect. I let my action be action and joy. I mean, this is it. We have the law, we have the thought, and now we have the action. So you have intended action. Action is part of the deliciousness of your physical world, but you did not intend to create through physical bodily action. You intended to use your body to enjoy the actions that you have created through your thought. So I hope, guys, this was something that inspired you. Of course, I highly recommend to go to a workshop and just kind of like witness this energy and come with a certain question that you have. It's not about getting picked. It's really your ego wants to be picked, feeling special, but all of you are going to feel special, and all of you are going to feel seen, heard, and get your answer. And if you didn't get your answers, means that it's coming to you. It's just not in that specific moment. It's just you needed to hear something else before you hear your answer. So hope you guys like this episode, and I would really appreciate if you can go and rate this podcast so more souls can listen to this. And also, if you can share it on your Instagram, kind of share your aha moment, share what you took from this episode, and tag me at Effortlessly Abundant Life to get your free gift. And with that, guys, I love you so much. Have a beautiful rest of your day wherever you're listening, and remember, you are the creator of your life. You really are. And by choosing how you feel, by choosing how you think, and allowing things to be easy and enjoyable, you are living in your purpose. So with that, I'll see you in the next episode.